Yo, what's going on guys? It's G-Miners here. A lot of people have been telling me recently that they absolutely hate changes to the Titan and think Void 3.0 was a huge nerf, but I think people are just not playing Titan right. Titans now heavily revolve around applying the Volatile effect to enemies, and unlike Warlocks and Hunters, these Volatile explosions can chain from enemy to enemy. This makes Void Titans now play exactly like Bottom Tree Dawnblade for Warlock, but just way stronger. As far as the subclass build goes, you want to run the aspects Controlled Demolition and Bastion. Controlled Demolition is going to allow us to chain together these volatile explosions and apply Volatile to enemies with all Void abilities. On top of this, when enemies explode from Volatile, you and nearby allies will get health. This isn't minuscule amounts of health either. This has often saved my life when playing extremely aggressive and getting focused by a ton of adds. Bastion, on the other hand, is just a nice aspect to run for the extra overshield and increased survivability. I think the offensive bulwark could have potential, but it definitely is not working right now. I also use the throwing shield as it synergizes with the build much better. As far as the fragments go, we are going to have access to 3 of them. First and foremost, we are going to run Echo of Undermining. This will allow our grenades to debuff for 15% and ultimately allows us to chain volatile explosions on tankier enemies. Second, we will be using Echo of Remnants for increased duration on our lingering nades. I found that Vortex nades work the best for constantly debuffing enemies and applying the volatile effect to as many adds as possible. Lastly, we are running Expulsion. This fragment allows each Void ability kill to cause enemies to explode on death. This causes each volatile enemy that explodes to deal more damage and increases the chance for an explosion chain to go off. Also, this allows for tankier enemies to die in these chain explosions. Seeing as this build revolves heavily around abilities, we are using the exotic chest piece Heart of Inmost Light to generate abilities faster. Using one ability increases regen of the other 2 abilities. This will allow us to use a grenade, then our melee, and lastly our barricade. Barricade will then provide us with an overshield while we wait for abilities to regen, and then we repeat. This cycle happens really fast though, so it's not like you're waiting around for abilities constantly. Before I go over the armor mods, if you found this video useful, don't forget to drop a like and sub down below. Subbing is completely free, it helps me out a ton, and you can always change your mind later. I would say, already, this build works just fine, but mods are going to make it snowball hard. First and foremost, we'll be using Explosive Wellmaker. Every volatile enemy that dies will die to explosive damage, so this is going to make generating solar wells extremely easy. With this, we will also be using Elemental Ordnance to generate Void Elemental Wells when our grenades get kills. Grenades are explosive damage, so this will be capable of spawning both Void and Solar Wells. Well of Life will provide us with healing from our Solar Wells. This mod is interchangeable, but is something you will need if you want this build to function at its peak in endgame content. The mod Bountiful Wells will allow each of the Elemental Wells to be doubled. This means on a single grenade kill, we could potentially spawn 2 Solar Wells and 2 Void Wells. The chain explosion could also then go on to spawn 2 more solar wells if it chains long enough. And lastly, to make this build even crazier, we are using the seasonal mod Volatile Overflow. Anytime we grab our Void Elemental Wells, we will be able to shoot volatile rounds at enemies for 15 seconds. Each enemy shot will become volatile. This will be one of the fastest ways to add clear in groups, at long ranges, and at multiple spawn points. Just in general add clear encounters and activities, all you really need to do is constantly use your abilities to make enemies volatile and chain these explosions. That's it. With Well of Life and Controlled Demolition providing health back for volatile kills, and being able to throw down an overshield barricade at any time, this also helps keep us alive. Even in endgame content, the essence of this build is still going to be clearing out adds as fast as possible. Rank and files are still going to easily die from a single nade, and weakened enemies should die to the shield throw. Once you get that single kill, the enemy should explode, dealing damage to everything nearby and spreading volatile. This gameplay now is of the final mission. This is legend difficulty, which is going to be harder than things like contest mode, as there are additional modifiers here that make enemies tankier. Even with this, the build still makes clearing red and yellow bars a complete joke. Anyways, that's all for this video, guys. Hope this build helps, and make sure to let me know what you are keeping or changing in the comments below. Have a good one. Peace.